Let me try to get set up here. You can see all the good volume yesterday. You can see that Bitcoin took a little push forward, came back into support. The bullish flag, the whipsaw effect, came back across the 34, back into the 34, back into the 34, and then pop, and then drop below the 34. So it may come down into the support line of the bullish flag breakout. Not sure about my even if I'm live or not. I am recording though. Trying to get a live stream over to Dtube. Cannot tell if it's working or not. This is retarded. Give me a second. Yeah, it says I'm live. Whoa, yeah. Well, if anyone makes a comment, I won't be able to see it. I'll figure this out. There we go. Alright, so if anyone wants to comment on Dtube, hit me up. So anyways, we had a bullish flag on Bitcoin, came across the 34, into the 34, made a bust out move, and now it's back into support. Waiting for the accumulation distribution to break out, never did. So is it going to hold a pattern or not? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see, but it's still holding support nicely. I'm going to do a weekly chart update. What we're looking for is this price pinch where resistance is coming down, support's coming up, and price is caught in between, back and forth, and then pop. ARC, gas, OST is coming back into support. You can see that on the daily. Hasn't made the big move yet. Let's do this. Let's get the daily up as well. That's a 5-hour chart, not the daily, but it's close enough. You can see the 5-hour chart, price pinch. We're really looking for the long-term trend change on these weekly charts. Since yesterday was a new chart candle for the week, and do a weekly update. Power. You see it's coming across the 34 again. All these are trend changing. NTL. Lots of big moves coming. KMD is looking for a previous high break. Nice reverse head and shoulders price pattern right across the 34. Looking for a big move on that one. CVC already came into resistance, back into support, so perfect time to buy. As it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it gets real tight. And then pop. RDN, same thing. All these ran pretty good last night. NAV, really like this chart here. Looks like it made a little bit of move. 5-hour chart there. Looking for a previous high break into previous lows. Then we can kick it off. You can see the price pinch every single time on that weekly chart. They're all coming into this price pinch. GNT's got some work to do, but it's coming off of a nice bottom. First move is into the 34 and then back in. 5-hour chart on GNT looks like it's ready to move. NEO. GRS was moving last night, came back into support already. Another perfect example of something ready to move. It's going down the line here. You can see ZRX, it's got some work to do, but you can see how the 5-hour chart broke out. But it's got a lot of work to do on this weekly chart for a trend change. VIA, same difference. Right across previous highs. Into the 34 for the first good break. Back into the 34 and then pop. These things are coming from bottoms. Some of them you'll see they're already coming across the 34. Dent's got some work to do. Looks like some of these popped up without me noticing. Poly. Look at the previous high breaks on the 5-hour. It's got some work to do, but it's got a higher low on the weekly, so this could confirm the higher low double bottom there. I got this ADX waiting for this thing to move. It's been pretty volatile, but you can see the price pinch. You can see the inverted hammer over support. Not a perfect inverted hammer. It's got a little wick, but you can see the price movement back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Price has to make a move. A lot of these popped up. Fuel. While behind, you can see how tight that is in there. Where support's moving up, resistance coming down, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, pop. See the 5-hour chart. You can see the resistance clearly. Looks like a nice reverse head and shoulders. Watch for the pop on the Wabai. Some of these are popping up. Lots of volatility today. See a previous weekly move on PHX, and then the nice J curve, pop, pop, getting ready for this thing to move. Five-hour chart's got a little wake-up call there. Let's see, I think systems moved into place here. I like systems. This little chart here, looks like the 5-hour chart already decided to move. It's got resistance coming in. But once it decides this price pattern is completing, you can see the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder coming through. Watch for a big move across that 34. Now, why do I choose the 34? It's because I see it as the center of the wave. Price goes back and forth across the 34 all the time. Great moves across the 34. What is that going on up there? ARC and gas and OST still have great volume. Great trader if you can handle it. Let's see. ARDR moved the other day. It came all the way back into support. Look how tight that is in there. Weekly chart updates. Trend changes on the long-term charts. That's going to be a nice mover. It looks like it's already breaking previous highs on the 5-hour chart. Let's get a little buffer in there. Let's clear out this spike. There we go. Look at this pop here and then came all the way back in. The pop, come back in. The pop, come back in. What do you think is going to happen? Boom. It's getting ready to pop on that ARDR. That's going to be a nice choice there to watch. Let's see. Poly's got some volume coming in. Poly right off the bat there. Boom, 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 boom. Got a lot of work to do on the poly, but it's confirming that double bottom. Great time to get in there. See if I'm missing anything on the top here. I believe ARN moved a couple days. Look how tight that is. Higher lows. Resistance coming down. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's going to pop. Reverse head and shoulders on the weekly, long-term chart. Can be a nice pattern break. This changes to an alphabetical so I can catch everything. Reverse head and shoulders again on Cardano. See the left shoulder, 2-bar reversal, 3-bar reversal, inverted hammer over support, or falling star into support, and watch for the turn. Got a nice, I would say, confirmation at 168 ADX. This thing's been back and forth all night. Looks like it's coming back into support now. We've got an AB bottom showing on the 1-minute chart. Let's see if it'll hold. You can see the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Inverted hammer right over support. Bam. The other move is coming across the bottoms here, the 8 crossing over the 13. So you notice 8, 13, 34, 21, 3, 5, 8. Those are all Fibonacci numbers. I love these Fibonaccis. AGR 80 came over the 34 already on the weekly. So that's what's going to happen on the rest of them. Over the 34, back into the 34. Over the 34, back into the 34. Watch those price patterns completing over the 34. Look how tight that is. It's hugging support. Wait for the move. These kind of moves come all of a sudden, just out of nowhere. Until the last bit of sellers dry up, and then it just pops. Because there's no more sellers. You can see the semblance of another reverse head and shoulders on the left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Could be a nice little price pinch there. APPC ran already over the 34. Look how it's coming back into the 34. So watch for the support buys. These moves are just starting. ARDR, we had just mentioned that. Watch for the crossover, the intraday chart. 5-hour chart moves. I'm going to set my alarm on that one. That's going to be a nice mover there. Arc, we already mentioned. So kind of moved across. Watch for it to come back into the support. Yesterday when we mentioned it, it already popped and it came back in, and then you had a chance to really get the whole thing. That's why I do the daily opens, daily chart opens. See what's going to move. What starts in motion usually stays in motion. So it's one of those things. ARN again, not moved yet, but it's been trying. AST coming from a bottom, you can see the resistance. Getting pretty volatile. It's got higher lows. Let's see if we can reach resistance. Could be blue skies on this one after what is it, 65, 6,000, right in there. Could be an all-time breakout. Looks pretty nice on that 5-hour chart for a nice move coming. BCD, you can see how tight it's getting down in here. Double bottom. Watch for the confirmations. Got knocked back pretty good a few weeks back. So it's got a lot of work to do on the long-term chart. Still not sure about this one. Needs to do some confirmations, get some support. But it's got higher lows coming in. Watch for the whipsaws. Looks like an AB bottom's coming in on the 1-minute chart on ADX. Got my other window open. looks like a reverse head and shoulders, left shoulder, head, right shoulder coming in. A lot of work to do on the weekly. It's a newer issue, so not a lot of data to show there. BCPT, look at that, move across the 34 on the 5-hour chart. Coming across the 8 on the weekly. This might be a good start on this one. BLZ had a move, came back in. BNB, this one has moved across the 34 already. Had a nice accumulation pattern. ARDR, there's my alarm. Let's see what's going on. What's going on? This thing's going to be a nice mover. Let's see if I can get rid of that spike. Sometimes they're not real. There we go. It's boom time. Where was I? BNB. You can see the accumulation pattern here. The higher lows and the higher highs. The inverted hammer. Over the 34, back into the 34, and then it went boom. That's the Binance coin, BNB. Came into resistance. You can see the long-term resistance. So we got a move into resistance, back into support. You can see how far away it is from its averages. So I suspect it's going to come back in. You can see the head and shoulders top. Moving across the 34 on the downside. So I imagine BNB is going to come back into support and then watch for the flat top break. Boom, boom time. Lots of good moves coming. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Watch for the breaks. Coming from the bottom on the weekly. Lots of good moves coming. There's 100. What is there? 150 Binance coins. I would say more than half are ready to move. BQX. You can see the pop into the 34 and then this nice little sharp U-turn. This J curve pop. Watch for a turn. You can see on the shorter term 5-hour chart here. Watch for the confirmation. BRD looks like a lots of pumps into resistance, into resistance, into resistance. All the while higher lows, higher lows. Let's get real tight in there. Look how tight that is on the long-term chart. Watch for BRD. Looks like a nice little setup coming across the resistance there. Long term on Bitcoin. Let's see what is going on here. You can see the bullish flag. Over the 34, back into the 34. Let's see if we can't get this thing pumping. All eyes on Bitcoin. Nice cup and handle there. Moving across, you can see the hammer, and then the move across, and then it held support for 2 weeks now, above the 8, it's gaining support, long-term support. Next move is into the 34, or excuse me, the long-term 13. So over the 8, into the 8, into the 13, back into the 8, and then pop into the 34. And let's see if we can't get this thing moving. BTG. Wait for those moves across. It's Coming from the bottom, it's got needs a lot of help on that weekly chart there. It does hold the higher lows though. ETS looks good. You can see it coming across how they 8 coming across the 13. Pops over. You can see the higher lows, higher highs. Watch for a move outside that pattern. A little bit torrent. Not a lot of weekly. Looks like we ran the trend into a lower high, and it's breaking upside trend. So looks like it may need to consolidate for a while. Had a good move on the first week there. There's another one coming into a price pinch. Double bottom showing. Needs some work from this bottom, but just wait until all the sellers dry up. Nowhere to go but up. CMT coming across the 8, into the 13, back into the 8, and then pop. I got previous lows coming in right where that 34 is. So it needs some CMT, needs some time. CND, this one made a move. Here. Here. Now it's coming back in. Once it finds its legs again, watch for the move across the 34. CVC, that was a good move yesterday. Boom! Made an inverted hammer. Watch for the continuation. Watch for the move on CVC across 34. Another good one. Dash had a good move the last week. Came across the 8 and 13. Coming back into support now. Let it gather its legs. Try again into the 34. Data, same thing. Made a nice move. Came back into support. Watch for the previous high breaks. Nice hammer over support. You see that? Not a perfect hammer. You can see the price movement pretty well. Higher lows into resistance. Not sure about that one yet, but some of these I don't pay attention to because they're pretty thinly traded. You can see how each move is 1 point. It's pretty thinly traded. DGD, we just looked at that. Or maybe, I'm not sure. DLT. You can see the move on DLT across the 34. Boom. You can see the step into support. The calculated move into support. The consolidation. Wait till the consolidation's over. You can see the head and shoulders top after the boom. Then the move down. Back into support. Gather its legs. Try again. Looking for those moves across the 34, a long-term chart. Support's pretty thin on DNT, but at Storage A looked like that too. Previous high breaks. EDO. Boom time. You can see EDO moving across the 8 into the 13, back into the 8, over the 13, back in, boom, came back, boom, came back over the 34, back into support, back in, boom. Watch those pattern breaks. Once the move happens across the 34, watch those patterns form. Make sure support holds, of course, and watch for the continuation across the trend changes. These are long-term trend changes on these cryptos coming across those 34s. Very nice. ELF had a great move. You can see it's coming from that bottom. As big as ELF moved yesterday, you can imagine what the moves are coming, because it was just a blip on the long-term chart. Just a blip. So the nice move across as the 8 crosses over the 13. Price moved above, pop. It's coming back in now. You can see it. Gather its legs and try again. ENG. It's a nice little pattern on that weekly. These are weekly charts, so it could take forever, but watch those moves. It needs to gather its legs on the 5-hour chart here. ENJ is a good example of the move across the 34 back into support. EOS. Gonna love some EOS. Came into the 34. I suspect it's going to come back in a little bit. You can see the head and shoulders top forming here on the 5-hour. Watch for the support buys coming in. Looks like you got 66. Maybe a little exhaustion move down into the 55 range. But you can see the nice left shoulder, the head of the right shoulder. And watch for the sling back right before the big move across the 34. I was hoping for a pop across the 34 before the sell-off, but I'll take it. ETC, you can see how nice this J curve is going to pop. That higher lows coming in into resistance. That resistance very tight. First move right across, boom. Need some help on the 5-hour chart, but you can see the W here. Nice bottom form. ETH, look at that bottom on that weekly chart, man. You can see the pop across the 8, 13, the 2-bar reversal back into support. You can see the nice little tight pattern double bottom. Boom. Watch for continuation across the 34 coming. This thing's big. Nice flat top break on the 5-hour chart. Not too late on that one. Put your orders in at support. See EVX pop across, came back in. 2-bar reversal on the weekly so far. Look at the inverted hammer over support. Do not ever neglect the inverted hammer over support. Bam. Fuel, we looked at that. Thin line of support, but it's got higher lows moving in. It's moving across the 813. Watch for a move into the 34. First move. Into the 34. Back into support, and then bam! Sometimes you'll get them moving across like, what was it? There's been a few already that move across the 34 and make a big move, first initial move. Funds. It's got some trouble down here at the bottom. It's got a inverted hammer over support, so we'll have to get back above that. It's got some troubles there. Gas, we already moved. You can see that one big move across the 34 coming back in. Let it come back in. Best bet, putting some orders down here at support. Sometimes when things really get moving, they'll come down and grab you. GNT. It's just a good, great looking chart there for a bottom. As it starts to move, this whole time it's been hugging support, hugging support, hugging support. Then it decides, boom. Watch for the move across the 5-hour chart. I'm going to pay attention to that one. You can see, I mean, you can just see it. Every time you see it, boom, into support, boom, into support, boom, into support, climb, climb, climb. This is accumulating rapidly. It's coming to the end of the price pattern. GNT on the watch. It's go time. You can see the 8, 13, 34 all above. You can see it's having some trouble. It's got great OBV though, so wait for a turn on this. Looking at ADX on the other screen. Coming into a bottom. Spiking low, exhaustion moves. You can see the AB bottom. The move across the 8, 13 back into support, into the 34, back into support. Watch for the flat top break right here. Boom, boom, boom. It's a 1-minute chart. Nice hammer on there. Last candle hammer right over support. Nicely done. Let's go. GRS. Looking for some big moves on this one. You can see again, accumulation, pump, pump, pump. Watch for the previous side breaks. GTO, look at that. Nice move across the 5-hour chart, coming off that bottom. GTO. You can see the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. Nice OBV. Some big moves coming out there. All hinging on Bitcoin, of course. Bitcoin doesn't hold up, nothing's going to hold up. Everything will take another leg down. Doesn't matter if it's changing trend or not. GVT. This was a good mover for a long time. So watching for a good move across the resistance there. 5-hour chart. Same thing. Kind of repeating myself, every single one of these things. Moving across the 34, back into the 34, back in. Watch for the previous high breaks. Just making that trend change. Hot, you can see how badass that was on that move. It's got a high level of consolidation, not sure if it's going to move higher or not. Best guess, it needs to come back down into support. The 8, 13, 34 lagging. So usually price bust out and then bullish retraces back into support. Those opposing points define trend. ICX, you can see how tight it is down there. You can see the reverse head and shoulders. Watch for that neckline break. I'll just set my alerts on the way down. You can see the move across the 34 coming back into support. Let it gather its legs and try again. Watch those patterns over support. IOST, look at that reverse head and shoulders. I'm not sure if that's the right shoulder completing yet, but it very well may be. Look how tight it is between resistance and support. Resistance and support. Very nice pattern. Not sure if it's ready yet, so be aware of previous high breaks to confirm. IOTA, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Those right shoulders always come down and just shake everybody out right before the big move. Call it the slingshot move. Pulls back, defying all gravity, then pop. Watch for previous high breaks. That looks like a nice chart. I'm going to save this one to my list. ADX getting tighter and tighter on that 1 minute chart. IOTX. It's hugging support. It's got a thin line, flat top, flat bottoms. I don't like the flat bottoms, so it's got to pick up the pace. On a long-term chart there. Need to gather some support, long-term support before the moves. Same. It's got a flat. Although Store J, the big mover yesterday, or the day before yesterday, was a flat bottom, I believe. Let's go look at Store J, because maybe I'm wrong and I keep repeating. Yeah, see how it had some higher lows, but it was pretty flat. So you just never know until it happens. But through time, price is all between support and resistance. Through time, it has to make a move because support and resistance got so tight. You can see the move right before the inverted hammer on the weekly chart. So there's your big clue. So it popped. That's why I watch the daily charts. The new candle comes out. This popped right at the open, came all the way back in, and then the next day, Saturday, pop. Boom. So, anyways, where was I? Candy. Comes ADX across the 1 minute chart. Looking for big moves on that bad boy. So anyways, watch those support lines, make sure they hold. Key, had some high hopes for Key, but As of late, it's been coming back into support slowly but surely. So far, it's holding higher low. It's got a turn. You can see the flatness of it. Could fall over at any moment. KMD, you can see this nice little gem here. Keep your eyes on KMD. You can see the breakout came back into support, and then the flat top breaks. You can see that U-turn, kind of like a J curve after the first initial pop. Watch for support moves, but the big move, it hasn't come yet. The big move is when it breaks out of this bottom base. You can see how tight it is down here. Price had to make a decision, up or down. Decided to go up. You can see that nice long-term J curve. Watch for the previous high breaks as sellers dried up. Lind, same. Looks like we got a little step into support. Looks like we got a little pop on the initial today. Link, same thing. The pop across the 34 came back in, pop, came back in, pop, came back in. It's that initial pop across the 34, and then we have a trend change. Then the whole wave turns into a bullish retrace, Nice previous high breaks. Could be a blue sky on this bad boy. Coming in. Had a double top here, so watch for support. Could come down a little bit. Boom, you can see how tight it is down there. Very nice. Watch for a bottom move on this one. See LRC popped into the 34, now it's coming back in. It's going to make that turn. Very nice. Watch for another pop. Pop. Come back in. Pop. Come back in. Very signature. LSK, some high hopes for this a couple weeks ago, but it's just coming back in. But you can see this setup across the 34 on the 5-hour chart back into support, and then watch for the double back flat top breaks. LTC make big moves across the 34. It's holding its gains. Let's see what kind of top pattern we got here. Looks like we're making a reversal pattern, holding its gains. It's got to hold support, but you can see not much of a real pattern, but it's a reverse head and shoulders. So left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Reversal pattern. I suspected it needs to come back in a little bit, but it's holding its gains. It's holding. It's showing some strength. LUN, you can see how tight that is on LUN. Mana came out of the base on the, so popped the base, came back into support. So could be a nice bottom play for mana, but it is below the 8, 13, and 34 altogether. It is showing a higher low. MCO. Had some good moves into the 34 just recently. Might be somewhat of a toppy pattern here. I got a falling star into support, so watch for support. Let it gather its legs. I got higher lows. I got a reverse head and shoulders right over the 34. Watch the big move. It's not come yet. MDA. Pop into support. Pop into support. Watch for the pop, pop, pop. Completing the bottom pattern. MFT, I love this little J curve on the long-term chart. So it moved across the 813, came back into support. Next move is gather its legs, try it for the 34 on the long-term chart. MTH, not sure about this one yet. Still trying to figure things out. Needs to gather its legs, crossing over the 8. I don't see that happening right away. Got higher lows. See how tight that is. And TH. Looks like we had a dip. Nice hammer. Watch for the previous high breaks on this bad boy. Looks like a triple top bottom. You can see how tight that is. Resistance coming down. Support crossing over. Price has to make a move. It's between support and resistance. It's got nowhere to go. Where's it going to go? Looks like we have a whipsaw here if it can cross over the resistance. So whipsaw right across the 34 on the weekly chart. Boom. TH. MTL. Look how tight that is coming across the balance line there. Balance lines. Previous lows, previous highs. It's coming across. Watch the pop. Pop, pop, pop. MTL looks good. Something to go for here. Make sure you hold support, previous highs. Good spot to make some purchases. ADX making previous high break off that 1 minute chart. See if we can't get this thing moving again. Gotta watch for resistance. Where is my resistance? Four. Previous high breaks at, it's pretty close here, 35 to 36. Alright, I'm ready. In TL, good one to watch. So I'm going to set those alarms here. See if it can't cross over 10. Looks like it hit a wall there. Set the alarms. In it to win it. Nano. Nice reverse head and shoulders off of the 5-hour chart. Watch for the neckline break. Looks like 28's the big break. But could be a nice bottom play here. You can see the 2-bar reversal pop. And then the slow sliding into support. Watch for the turn. Look, this could be the bottom turn here. NAS. Watch for the previous high breaks on this bottom. Could be a nice confirmation. NAV, mentioned that before. Love me some NAV. Very tight. Resistance and support. Prices back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, tighter and tighter and tighter. Price has to make a move. These are high probability plays. Wish me had me $1 million. Can place the bets. In cash, not sure about this. It looked good for a minute, and then it kind of died out. Let's go to the gather, so let's try again. Nebel, you can see how tight that is. Wait for confirmation on the intraday charts. Neo, I think we looked at this. Look, it's crossing over the 30, over the balance line there. Could be a nice move into the 34 on the weekly chart. PXX, just a one of those diluted coins, I think. Not sure how diluted, but it's a cheap penny, like a penny stock of the coins, right? But you can see something may be big and large. You can see the OBV cross here. It's been accumulating off this bottom. Nulls crossing over the 813 back into support. Watch for the previous high breaks confirming bottom. Nice pop coming back into support. Watch for the previous high breaks. MXX, same thing. Same thing, same thing. Repeat, repeat, rinse, repeat. OEX crossing the 34 back into support, making that 34-8 cross. I call it the splash. The move across, coming back in. As the 8 crosses over, price comes and meets 34 and the 8, making this nice little splash. The splash of support. The sweet spot for purchases. You can see the neckline break on this bad boy. OMG. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder coming through. The sling back pop. It's that move. It's coming from a bottom. Watch that confirmation. 34.50. Watch for a big move into the 34 next. New issue here. Not much to see. ONG. I guess it's a spin off a gas, I guess, or something like that. I got accumulation here on the accumulation distribution indicator on ADX. It's moving up for a while now, looking for a pop. OST made a big move yesterday, showing an inverted hammer here, or not, more like a falling star. Falling star at a bottom is just signifying a move into support. So if this confirms, just watch for price coming back in. OST, nice move, initial move across, coming back in now. Got an hour. What is it? 2.5 hours left to confirm this candle. Anything can happen. But nice initial move across the 34, back into support. Then gather its legs and try again. Trend changing coming on OST. Phoenix, PHX, we just mentioned that. Nice J curve. Watch for the move across as support and resistance is coming in. PivX, mentioned that too already. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder coming through on that long-term chart. Very nice. And that's how sweet that hammer is. Long-term hammer, knocking out the bottom. POA. It's still hugging support, but it's got that little U-turn looking coming across. U-turn in it. Watch for it. POA, POE. Not sure about POE. It's just hugging support. It's got a thin line there. We'll see how the intraday turns out. Poly, we mentioned that too. Could be a nice bottom. See the pop coming back in. If you miss the pops, wait for it to come back in. Put your orders in at support. Power, we mentioned that earlier. You can see the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and the sling back. Watch for the slingshot move. See the 5-hour chart booming. Nicely done. Store J. Is it going to come all the way back in? Storm. Same. You can see the accumulation on the OBV and then the price coming down. What's going to happen? There's a sweet spot somewhere, and I think the 5-hour chart signifies it. We show support, moves across the 34, and then back in to support. Watch for the flat top break. Storm's got some moves. Let's set my alarm on that one. Showing higher lows. Strat, member of, it's forever now, but remember the move that Strat had? And it came all the way back in. Thing is, looks like we got a turn in the market here. We got previous lows, moving across previous lows, into previous lows, back in for support. So watch for the previous high breaks to confirm. Back right across that 34 on the weekly. Big moves coming on Strat. Systems, we mentioned this right from the get-go. Nice moves coming across the resistance there. Nicely done. Left shoulder had that sling back. Boom. Watch the big moves across resistance. Theta had some big moves. Right? Boom, boom, boom. Looks like maybe a toppy little pattern forming. It's got a cup and handle. Watch for the previous low breaks coming across. We got a momentum cross of the 8 under the 13. Watching this ADX for a big move. So we had a pop across, came back in. Pop, came back in. Pop, is it going to come back in? Finally, the 8's crossing over the 34. Not much of a splash yet, but wait for it. Let it come back and get you. Theta's going to have some big moves as well across that 34 coming in. TNB. See how tight that is? Needs some confirmations. Breaks into previous lows. Kind of went back. I had my alarm set up here. Kind of went backwards on me. TNT. Nothing's guaranteed. TNT. We had a nice pop over the 34. Now it's back under the 34, but holding support. I got higher lows throughout. Moving into resistance. That big trend change looking thing. TNT. Something to watch. TRX moved across the 34 already. It's coming back in. It's got a nice J curve here. Maybe it holds support at the 8 weekly. TUSD had a nice move across the 34 previous breaks. Remember that one? Boom. Is it going to come back in or is it going to confirm? Higher prices. Watch for the previous high breaks. I'm not sure why this is not trading yet. USDS. Not sure if it's going to have a Bitcoin pair, but it's somehow it's added. Somehow I'm not sure how they do it. I don't pay attention. I like charts. I don't pay attention to the logistics. VET, previous high breaks, right? Boom, came back in the support. Building, building, building. Watch for the confirmations. VIA coming to an end here. VIA. Look at the bottom form there. Boom. Some nice moves coming. What the hell is Bitcoin doing? You see the accumulation distribution broke down. I'm waiting for this thing to turn back up. Price looks okay. But we had a major sell-off here. So a little distribution. VIA looks good. But if Bitcoin falls over, I mean, some of these could take another leg down, you know what I mean? So just make sure you hold support. Don't yell at me when you hold on to it all the way down. I didn't say hold it all the way down. I said buy it at all the way down. Buy it when it's down. Don't scream at me. Buy at support, sell into resistance. Rinse and repeat. Rinse and repeat. Look how VIB is. Already had a pop across, coming back into support. Watch for a big move on VIB. VIBE popped across already. It's hugging support back in. Very nice. Watch for the double back. Nice outside bar. Look at that outside bar. Back, over, under. Bam. Watch for the previous high breaks on the intraday chart. VIB looks good. It's already hugging support. It's already got some trend change looking. Wabai, we mentioned this earlier. It's getting really tight in here. Watch for the moves. WAN. Not sure about this yet, but wait for confirmations. A little exhaustion wick. Look for those wicks pointing down. Watch the moves opposite. Opposite of the wick. Nice pop coming back into support. See how flat bottom that is? I don't like that support line. I suspect it's going to come down deeper. But it already crossed the trend change, so let it come back in. Let it hold support. WPR had a little problem here. Thin line of support. Busted down. Might get a U-turn here. Just not sure about it yet. Needs a nice little whip before I decide up or down on that one. WTC. Same difference. Watch for the confirmation on these bottoms. Previous lows, breaking into previous lows. Let it ride that range up. Showing higher lows throughout, so it's a nice little bottom pattern. Could give it a boost on this weekly. Not much going on that weekly, but pay attention to the ones out of this. Some of these come out of nowhere. XEMs can have some problems on that weekly chart. Look how it came into resistance and busted down below support. So I'm just not sure about this one yet, but it needs to break back into previous lows, gather some support. Damn. It's a nice little pattern here. It's got to confirm though. It's in La La Land on the weekly chart, so I'm just not sure about those. It's got to have some. It's got to show some support before I'm confident. This one needs to break back below, into previous lows as well. XRP. The banker coin. Here's the banker coin. Banker coin moved across the 34, back into support. Back into resistance, and then back into support. Looks like it wants to come back into the 34. I'm not sure if this thin line of support is going to hold. XVG. Trying to look for a bottom. Needs to break back in previous lows. Broke over the 813, back in, pop, back in, wait for a pop. XZC. Looks like I got a previous high break here coming. Nice reverse head and shoulders, neckline break. Something to watch there. Not too late to get in it to win it. Got a little yo-yo. Higher lows throughout. Previous high breaks. Nicely done. This is a good example of watch for previous high breaks over the 34. I was hoping for a pop on ADX before the end of this show. Coinbase sends me a little, your opportunity to win free ZEC. Wonder why. Just wondering why. Popping over 34 on the 5-hour chart, coming back into support. It's got a thin line of support. Not sure if it's going to make a move. Got knocked back from the 8 and 13 already on the long-term chart. So are they selling to dilute? Not sure. ZEN. Looks like I got the 8 support so far. Popping over the 34, climbing. It's below the 34 now, but left shoulder head, right shoulder sling back. Little ZIL. What's going on, ZIL? You can see the move into the 34 on the weekly, and then the comeback into support as the 5-hour chart signals a bottom. The pop coming back in. Watch for the previous high breaks on ZIL. LUN has got triggered. Watch for the previous high breaks on ZIL. Little confirmation bottom pattern right there, and then the move back into the 34. Could be a nice mover. Take a look at that. I got two more here. One more. Watch for the. See how this is down in La La Land, breaking previous lows. Not sure about this one yet. But the 5-hour seems to want to push back across support, so maybe a little whipsaw. Pay attention to those whipsaws. Let's see. That's what's going on here. LUN. Oh. Look how tight that is. Watch for this volume indicator here. Volume by percentage. This is an average volume percentage of 30-day averages. So when I got 56% of the 30-day average, it's not doing as well as 100%. I'm looking for those 100% breakouts. So watch for volume on this. Especially watch previous high breaks. Looks like a nice little bottom forming. Not sure if it's ready yet. The volume's not showing that it's ready. Look at shorter term charts, see if we can't see a pullback. Nice chart pattern coming across there. It's very nice. Watch for volume. LUN, it's on the brink. So it's at resistance. Put some orders in at support all the way down in this range. Come on, ADX. POS. Alright, so that's it. Weekly update. Thanks. Hope you got something out of it. I'm going to upload this to DLive. What is it? Dtube. I'm going to post on Steemit. Upload to my YouTube channels. All over the place. Weekly update for Bitcoin. Binance. Look at Bitcoin. I got a double bottom showing on the accumulation distribution. Hopefully we can get back across. A little whipsaw. across that 34. See if we can't get this thing moving. All eyes on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin falls over, everything I just mentioned about trend changes on long-term charts is null and void. But the reason why I'm doing these videos is because I think that Bitcoin is coming into a bottom. So, and you can see that with all the cryptos coming into a bottom, trend changing on the long-term charts. But anyways, hit me up on Discord. I'll post that link right now. Your little invite. I appreciate everyone watching out there. I appreciate support. Thank you very much.